different ideal when it comes to living a happy life. Some people want to be rich and famous, others just want a nice family and a peaceful life. But there's a big significance between living a good life and taking care of mental health. Having a good life doesn't necessarily equate to having happiness and having a state of emotions. I believe that mental health should be the #1 priority in life because it's easy to mistake being distracted as being happy. Someone could have everything they could possibly want, but at the end of the day still be at their lowest and experience emotional turmoil. When I was diagnosed with depression 2 years ago, I used to think that there was something wrong with me. I had a good life in New Jersey. I was at boarding school away from my strict mom's authority, and I was having all the fun I could have surrounded by my friends. However, I fell into a depressed state based on my unhealthy lifestyle. There are some days that I struggled to get out of bed and missed school, and I never did my laundry, and my room was constantly a mess, and my grades were dropping. I was always finding things to be distracted with, or else I would have to face my emotions and lie in my bed with misery. Most of all, I didn't have a sense of control in my life. One night, I opened a rejection letter from a summer program I applied to. This hit me hard and gave me the harsh but needed reality check. All that time wasted being distracted or stuck in bed caught up with me. I remember the moment I looked into the mirror and decided that I wasn't going down like this. I wasn't going to let my life become a cycle of sadness, and I wasn't going to let my depression or anything stand in the way for me being the best version of myself and being happy. I started focusing on my future, my passions, and most importantly, keeping a healthy lifestyle. I devoted myself to productive activities that made me feel accomplished and good in the way that I spent my time. It's been about 2 years since I've been diagnosed now, and I don't feel depressed anymore. I was able to turn my life around by improving my mental health, which I think is the highest form of self-love. Today, I will be talking about 2 fundamental things that I was able to change, which is physical health and mentality. These are things that I would have wanted to hear, and I know I'm not alone in this journey. So many people struggle with mental health. In Japan alone, 20% of the population is diagnosed with mental illness. 60% of youth dealing with depression do not get the treatment that they need. Mental health problems is one of the largest causes of overall disease burden worldwide. Firstly, exercise. I know exercising can be extremely challenging, but that makes the feeling of accomplishment even stronger. The feeling of I did it after an exercise that creates confidence and excitement. This satisfactory feeling can be backed up with science. According to Leon Taylor, physical exercise over time changes the structure of our brain and boosts our self-esteem. In fact, exercise biochemically changes our body in order to combat stress. Our brains release a chemical protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, in short, BDNF, that repairs our brains and creates new neurons in our hippocampus. And on top of that, endorphins released during exercise can fight feelings of discomfort that help our body and mind feel at ease after physical movement. The Mental Health Foundation states that low-intensity exercise for 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week, found to increase mood levels. Now, sleep. According to a study by Michigan, sleep is a significant factor in heightening mood and thinking. We youngsters especially need it for our minds and bodies to develop. Matthew Walker, who is a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, spreads the danger of lack of sleep. He states that below 7 hours of sleep is when you can measure objective impairments in your brain and body. This can be explained by the power of sleep. Sleep is the simple human design that restores and rejuvenates our brains and bodies. Did you know that while asleep, our data processors sort through information in our brain at a pace too overwhelming to handle in real time? Our brains need this time to reboot and balance our hormones, enzymes, proteins in our bodies. It's so important to keep a good sleep schedule where you get sufficient and consistent amounts of sleep. Likewise, diet is extremely contributes to our well-being. The gastrointestinal tract in the digestive system processes bacteria that influence the production of chemical substances that send messages from the gut to the brain, like dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is associated with the brain's reward system and increases motivation, while serotonin is associated with happiness and calmness. Eating nutritional food helps promote the growth of bacteria that positively correlates with the production of these chemicals. In short, eating healthy food sends a positive message to our brain, keeping a balanced diet, which is super important. Eating whole foods that are rich in fiber, and having a good mix of vegetables, carbs, proteins. And of course, I'm not saying that you should never eat junk food, but rather that keeping focused on eating healthy nutrients every day is a great step to having better mood and thoughts. Now, on to mentality. Keeping your body in the best shape helps with mental health, but the other crucial part is mentality. You need a secure mentality to keep yourself motivated. For me, it was a concept of choosing your struggles. Let me explain. I recognize that there's struggle in everything, but different kinds. On one hand, there's struggle in waking up early and going for that run. There's struggle in working out and limiting yourself from eating that brownie at 12 a.m. On the other hand, there's struggle in hating your body. There's struggle in regretting eating unhealthy after you see the consequences come in. Same applies to anything in life. While there's struggles in studying, there's struggle in receiving bad grades. If you choose to struggle first, to put the work in, you are then happy with the results. Discipline is self-love because it determines how much you're willing to suffer for your future self. Ignoring something you want right now for something better later on. Struggle with things that get you results. Struggle to get the results, but don't struggle with the results. And once you start doing this, you're practicing self-love. Thus, in order to be happy, I needed to be strong and conscious. And you have to have hope to persevere because it's not easy. You have to persevere when it's hard, and you have to persevere even after defeat. Because collective perseverance leads to long-term satisfaction. You have to want to be happy instead of getting distracted by instant comfort. Well-being is something you need to prioritize in order to achieve. And it's okay to fall, just as long as you get up. Even though things have significantly improved for me, I still go through lows and places where I have setbacks. But the lower I go, the higher I have to climb. And the higher I have to climb, the stronger I get. And I choose every day to keep going no matter what. It's about taking control of the things you can in life. You can't always control your situations. However, you have control over your actions. And you have power, and your actions impact your mind. A good resource for mental health support here is an organization called TEL, operating in Japan. They provide a hotline with confidential mental health services in English. Visit teljp.com for more information. Most of all, if you're struggling, reach out to your parents, teachers, and trusted adults because they could really help you. You're not alone, and it's your personal decision to keep yourself healthy and take action. I used to see depression as a weakness, but now I see it as my strength. I know now what it feels like to be at my lowest, and I'm constantly improving myself to never be there again. The only way to go is up. I put a conscious effort into my mental health, and I purposely took back control over my life, realizing that depression didn't need to have power over me. I had to be strong in my decision to change my mentality and prioritize my well-being. Once I realized that I had the control, I had to trust and believe in myself to do great things. I would like to end with a quote. Success is not final, and failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. Thank you so much for listening.